a good thing. No money to trade. So this actually looks interesting enough. The issue on this one is going to be a liquidity aspect of things. So like you have a nice trender on this. Obviously its earnings have come out. They're pretty good. It's got like the tenants you'd want in like a gapper trade that has earnings. The issue on this one's going to be a matter of liquidity. All right. Normally it does 400,000 shares a day in volume. You've only got like 10,000 pre-market. So it's not liquid yet. And so when I have a stock like this and I put it on my list, like the big thing that I always want to check is what? That it's liquid, right? That it's liquid, that I'm actually able to get in and out of it, and that there's no big spread. So these are the things that you guys got to really pay attention to. So I'm going to add this to the list for today, since we'll be trading, all day. But we've got to really make sure that it's got at least 500, 600,000 shares go off in the morning. Mac, what's up, baby? How you doing? Does that make sense on this? So this one's got a big, fat, hairy butt on it, right? All right, good. Big, fat, hairy butt, which is it needs liquidity. And you can see all this stuff is junk. So small cap market's in the huge pooper right now. None of them have any volume. Like you're not getting really any action on. You're not getting any action on this stuff. So just kind of be mindful of like where this is going. Small caps in the dumper. You're not going to get huge heat out of any of this. Like if you get something like Solo, right, it pops up 6 pennies on 12,000 shares. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. So like I'd leave you got to leave stuff like that alone. Make sense? Cool. We got nothing. Junk. Right? So when you're looking at gappers, you want stocks that are up 3% or more. You ideally need like 50,000 in volume pre-market if it's like a regular company. If it's a small cap company, I want like almost a damn million shares to get that thing going. Otherwise, they just pop and fade. Right? So like if you ever want to trade like the small boys, you need like that kind of heat before you go into it. So just something to kind of mindful of. There's no good gappers here. This is the calm before the storm, right? Because the earnings season starts like next week. So you're not really getting much stuff going on. Now this is interesting. Anytime I see this, so you got a stock that's in a big downtrend here, right? You've got this gap down on, it's down 20%, which is a little bit aggressive, but you can see here, Q gone, CEO, scat stepping down, lowers revenue growth, not good. Guidance in China, not good. Blah 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 blah. So, first of all, like when you miss earnings, it's always a disaster. But the second part is that when the CEO steps down, anytime a CEO steps down, what they usually are thinking is that there's been some kind of crime committed, right? Like some kind of fraud. When I hear like Chinese company and CEO steps down, I'm thinking they cooked the books, right? All right. They cooked the books and God knows what else, and there's something nefarious going on, and that's why you can get some of these stocks get smoked out. So put this on the list. Now remember the SSR is going to be on this. So you have two things that you do like when you got a stock on your watch list, right? Number one is like, okay, so at the intraday, we've got to look for a pattern. So two things we could trade at the open is an ORB or a quick pullback buy. Now, when you're down 19%, the quick pullback trade, which is like a short into the EMAs, would require some patience because your 9 EMA is going to be really far away. We don't know where it's going to be, but I'm guessing it's going to be like, around there. That's going to take a little bit of patience. So you can't just rip it right at the open unless you see a quick pullback buy, which is right gap down, pull back into 9, or you see an ORB. But the ORB has to be near the lows of pre-market. If it's not, then you can often get shaken out, especially if the SSR's on it. Whoa. So Amberilla dropped in late hours, blacklisted companies, blah blah blah. Engaging, so I'll just probably fluff, but you got to take it seriously. This is action, constricts exports of items. Yeah, that could hurt. So you've got room down to about 45 on this. You broke under the 50 SMA, which is really important. Um, Man, this thing's getting smoked. 13%. It may be an overshoot, but so far the charts say not, that you got room down to 45. I would definitely add this to the list. Good. Oh, yeah. JE, Chuck, PBYI. Let's see, man. This PBYI is a fall from grace, I'll tell you what. Remember you guys, we used to trade this thing back in the chat room when it was like all the way up here. And then even just recently, a couple years ago, now this thing is just getting slowly bleeding out. So, let's see what kind of trouble these guys have conjured up today. So you've got room. If this thing gets under 8-ish, I'd say, you've got a chance on this thing. Not much liquidity on it so far, so that's probably my worry on this one. You don't have really much action on this. So this is like kind of one of those ones I toss to the side for a sec, where I put it on the list, but I would, I need to watch it at the open and see if the liquidity even comes in. Does that make sense? Cool. Nectar. Boy, these guys. Nectar starts trials, a treatment for psoriasis. Who doesn't want a little treatment for psoriasis? A little dermatitis? Come on. This one's not too bad. I'd roll with the little Nectar. Now, Nectar's not the easiest stock to trade, but if it hangs out, if it gets under the 1678, look at the weekly chart on this bad boy. Right? You got a big kind of level right here. So if it gets under like 1675, dude, we shredded. You know what I mean? We shredded. Cool. Alright, so Nectar, add that to the list for now. The caveats on a couple of these ones are going to be, do they have any liquidity? AZZ. And we're going to thin this list out, so don't worry about having too many on the list. We always thin it out a little bit. This one doesn't have really anything going on. Postpones fiscal. Oh, that's never a good sign. This stock doesn't have any liquidity going, but anybody that postpones their damn earnings is a damn foe, right? They're up to no good. So that might be something we keep an eye on, but it doesn't have enough liquidity for us yet. Only 5,000 shares. Capper. Ooh, DPZ. Shreyas, where you at? This one actually might be worth something for us. So, Domino's Pizza is a high-flying stock, but you can see, like, overall, it's doing a topping pattern, right? What I mean by topping pattern is when you have a stock that's been on an incredible run for, like, a long period of time. So if you look at, a lot of people think, like, Netflix is, like, the hottest stock, right, of the last, like, 10 years. It's actually not. It's been Domino's Pizza. Domino's Pizza was left for dead 7 years ago. It was a $10 stock. They start fixing some ads. They fixed their pizza, I guess, right? And off to the races. This was a 9 EMA, 20 SMA rider on the weekly for years. If you're like an investor, long-term trader, by the way, look at your weekly charts. You can really gain a lot of perspective on like larger picture trends. The best ones, like stocks that are really, really hot, that like work for years, they tend to do it on weekly time frames, and they'll just ride right up, their EMAs and stuff like that. So just something to kind of keep mindful of. This one's got room to fall. So we've got here, you can see here, it's been boom, 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 boom. You've been kind of topping for a while. Now you're going to actually break down under these MAs here. You get 221. Could be like a first target. And then really, if it lost at 221, I mean, you have like really a lot of room. You don't have any real support down until you get closer to like, you got, that's where, your first level of support is. And if it gets down under that, then, you really have room down to 200. The odds of like a multi-billion-dollar company dropping down to, 200 from 230 intraday is very, very small. But, that's like what it projected you could do over the next, I don't know, few days. So that one looks good. That could be my fave. Issue on DP, gonna be spread. What is the spread gonna be, and how much is it gonna punish us? That's, man, when you get like too big of a spread, it really is, it's just tricky. Like if you have a too big a spread and you want to trade, say, 500 shares of it, or I'm just making up a number, but the spread is $1. Well, if it starts to squeeze even $1.50, you're gonna be down $700. It's gonna be tough. No, Siri. Chill out. Alright, cool. So I like this one. I like the location of the daily, and I do think we got multiple levels here that we could trade around. It just happens to be, I don't like stocks with big spreads. If I see the spread widen at the open, I'll just take it off my watch list. The only way you can really hit a stock with a monster spread is if you let it squeeze and then it starts to fizzle out, where like it'll hit an MA after it squeezes and like you shorted into the resistance. That way you'll have a really good fill and the spread starts to work in your favor as it fills out. But that's very rare, that people have that kind of skill. So I just try to keep away from it for the most part. Dun, 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 junk, 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 junk. All right, so look. This is going to be our list. We're going to narrow this bad boy down. Let's take a look at the QQQs real quick. We're still holding up near lows here. So, range life. Anytime the market looks bad, it looks good, it becomes good. And anytime it looks good, it turns bad. That's always how range trading works. When you start to run for a few days and you start to feel really good about the market, then you pull back and you feel bad about the market. Whenever you're feeling bad about the market and the market breath stinks and all the charts look like junk and everything looks like a bear flag, that's when the market ramps back. That's just range trading 101. You see a bunch of bad charts, everything looks good. You see a bunch of hot breakout charts, everything rolls over, and in a couple days, the charts are destroyed. So that's just how we've got to look at this. So right now, if you're looking at, say, a 30-minute time frame, there's a couple levels that we really need to be mindful of, right? We have here like an inverse head and shoulders at this point, but, if we start to break under kind of, we start to break and build under, like, say, this 186, 186.50s, then, that can take us back to the bottom of the range. So we've got to be really mindful of the location of where the Qs are. When you think about, like, when you're day trading, right? When you're day trading, and the market is just in a straight bull market, meaning like it's just kind of cruising up, it's moving averages and all that stuff. You don't really have to pay attention to the general market. Like every day, whether the market is red, stocks rip. Whether the market is flat, stocks rip. Whether the market's up, stocks rip. And you're paid to hold overnight, meaning like you'll get a lot of stocks gapping up and everything is just hunky-dory. Everything tends to work out too. You can chase stocks a little bit and the market will fix your errors. It'll pay you, you'll make a bad trading decision and you'll double down on a stock and it works out in your favor and you'll be like, oh shit, this is what I should be doing all the time. Those are the things that work when the market is trending and it's just riding up its MAs. Everything is breaking out. When you're in a range bound market, and you're getting like distribution in the market, meaning that distribution market means like, right, the shift in controls going from buyers to sellers, right? High growth names are getting sold off, right? So like your Netflixes, your Rokus, like places where people were hiding their money, right? Like what they call them hedge fund hotels, right? The hot stocks that everybody's piling into, when those are deflating, that's a sign of a distribution market. So during this type of market, even though you're just in a range, you've got to pay attention to the intraday machinations of the Qs and the SPY a lot more. Where in a bull market, like when the market was going up every day, I didn't look at the QQQs or where it was for months. Like I didn't give a shit because everything works out. Now you got to have it on your list. So keep like a 5-minute chart of the QQQs always on your list so that you have an idea of really where the market is shaking and baking, and you have to pay attention more to your levels than you really have had to in the last couple of years, where once the Trumpster took over, right, and the market started taking off, you didn't really have to do that for a while, but now we do. Let's kind of get rid of some of these gappers here from yesterday. Hold on here. So like a lot of these were just junk. By the way, the market's just been just brutal for a little bit, so oh man. Dun, 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 dun. Let's get rid of all these. Alright. You know what? I'm gonna take this Acer off the list as we're narrowing down. One thing to do, like when you narrow down your watch list, is a couple things. If you get stocks on your watch list like you just know you won't trade, you take them off. And the reason is if you know you're not going to trade them, then there's no point of a chart or spending your mental energy on them. I always like to put a bunch of stocks on my list, but then when I'm cleaning it up, it's always, would I really trade this? Yeah, well, we all know, like the guys that have been with me for a while know there's like almost 0% chance that we're taking this turd, so get rid of it. This Heli. This one looks actually still pretty good. Remember, the caveat on this one is going to be liquidity. QGen. This thing is top of the list. Plus, it's always fun to just short Chinese names anyways, right? You're like, yeah, you're just doing this for America. All right, we'll keep a little shred on that. This Ambarilla. This one's looking good. Now let's rank these. Always when you have your list, rank them, all right? This PBYI doesn't look like there's much action in it yet, so probably put that on the bottom of the list. Nectar. This one's looking good too because it's also trending down in the pre-market, right? A lot of times when they start to trend down, even if they start to trickle down in the pre-market, they dump hard, like right at the open. So be mindful of like the location of those bad boys. Titus, I got you, man. Happy birthday, by the way. DP's looking good. And Nectar. Yeah, okay. And I kind of like DP. Caveat is going to be the spread on this, right? Cool. Now let's take a look at our general watch list. I had a couple names. This LVGO was hot yesterday. Man, like I had it on the gapper list, but I just didn't see. Hey, Reef, what's up, baby? Thank you. No, you the man. I'm just like the man behind. Now, this thing was hot to trot yesterday. 18% gain. Woo. Watch this one today. If it's opening weak here, right? So if you have a weak open, like it flushes down at the open, you go red to green on it, right? We can hit this thing if it breaks over 21. That'll also take it over the 20 SMA. A lot of these IPOs, they got sold off so hard, man, they just grinding higher now. Any little spark is setting this up. LVGO secures new major deal for federal employees' health benefit. That sounds like it's pretty good. I don't even know what that means, but I do know that sounds pretty good. Add Siggy Bear to the watch list. Man, we've been trading Siggy Bear back and forth forever, but never on the long side. It's been such a turd. But what do you start to see here? This is a bottoming pattern here. You got a bottoming pattern that goes back to July, but let's just get rid of these lines real quick. Up 10% yesterday. Uptick in volume, which is important, right? It's coming off this 200 SMA or 50 SMA. You got a range break right here. This Siggy Bear might have some more juice in it. If you're looking at where it can go, you don't have any resistance till 20, and then the next spot is like 21. Okay. Crowd's been a nice trader for us the last couple days. So it's on day 3 of a move. All right? But it's got a lot of momentum where it's got too much momentum to short. Now that it's above these MAs, you can't really short it. But it's getting a little bit overbought, right? Because it was at $53 just a little bit ago. So what do you do with a stock like this, right? That's got all the momentum, all the heat, but it's a little bit extended. When you got this, Colin, I'm talking to you. When you got something like this, you can only hit it on weakness. So you can still long it, but you got to hit it on weakness. You can't chase it on strength. So like if you see like a little breakout over here or something, or like you see something like this and you're like, I'm going to ride the wave. Can't ride the wave on a stock that's this, overbought, because you're going to be at a resistance point, right, at 70, 71. But if it opens weak like this, right, and you flush out at the open, that kind of relieves the tension in the rubber band, and then you can actually take it long. So on a day 4 of a move, you never hit strength. On day 4 of a move, you never hit strength. On day 4 of a move, you only want to hit the weakness on a stock, then you're good to go. Hey, Dave from New York. What's up, baby? Docu, you got a nice breakout here at 65. You've been kind of grinding right into it. This one's got good liquidity, 4.8 million shares in volume. You got yourself a nice little run on this bad boy. I think this one's got a chance. You're getting a weak open on this one. We'll watch for a red to green. Now, look, a lot of these stocks are having weak opens because of what? Well, the market is opening weak right now. So if the dip in the market gets bought up, we can go red to green on these things. If you guys aren't familiar with the terms, ORBs, red to greens, quick pullback buys, get with me, during the middle of trading day. I'll get you some beginner videos or something. Get you out going properly. RH, nice range break too here. Right, you got a lower float on this. This has been a monster trender all year. It's up over 100% this year. You've had a nice kind of 1 month consolidation. When stocks are up like 100% or more, and they're like actual companies, they sometimes need a month or two to just chill, go sideways, and then they start to break out over that. So I like this one. You're right at that sweet spot. You're opening weak on this one. Watch this one for the red to green. This one's got a chance to. Nice range break on this. The issue on this one's going to be spread and liquidity. We've been caught in this sucker a couple times where it looks good, and then all of a sudden the liquidity dries up, and you're like, farshkanoogans. Okta. I got this one on watch actually for a short. Look at, if you go back here, 119, 119, 119, 120. This 120 is like a big, big level, right? So it's a breakdown, pullback. Man. That looks like a short. You got 96 stochastics, right? So anything over 80 is overbought. You're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 out of the last 6 days have been green. It's coming down from 93. So you move like almost $30, right? $30 on $120 stock's pretty aggressive. You're right at multiple levels of resistance. This one looks like a short to me. NVIDIA, nice weak open on this. We'll watch this one for red to green too. It's stuck at resistance right now. If this thing pulls to like 180, 178, I think we'll get a little bit of a long on this one. Market be willing. So now we're going in with the assumption that, right, the market could reverse. We've got to be able to play both ways today. Anything we have on our list could be, is going to have to be market dependent. SRPD got smoked out yesterday as it hit into resistance. It kind of filled its gap, so I don't know if it's got more room in it. Obviously, if it just kind of lost its footing right here, then yeah, it could bleed out some more. Man, that was... we were looking at this thing, and I'm like, it's a chase. And I was looking at it here, and I'm like, it's a chase. And I sat there for like an hour being like, I don't want to chase it. I don't want to chase it. And then at the end, I was like, damn, I should have chased that. Right? SDC, nasty, nasty day yesterday. Yeah, this one, opening week here. You know, this thing could get back into pop. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing break back into the 12s. That's a nasty reversal yesterday. Not only did you gap up, but then you reversed all the green. Would not be surprised to see this thing break those IPO lows at 12. It's a little bit of a tricky trader, tends to grind sometimes, but you know, at least when you're in it, I guess in hindsight where I'm looking at it, it looked really easy. But we were in it yesterday at like right around 15. I fudged up the covers. And then watch this page. I think this one may get back into the 8s or 9s. It was down 10% yesterday. You really clean too. Just nice, easy bear flaggers. Woo! We got a little bit of action on that bad boy, don't we? Hey, Rashad, where you been? How you been? Overbought means that it's usually like a little bit extended and it needs to come down in price. Anything on Lyft or YouTube, Uber? Let me check. Man, these things are in downtrends. Like, I'm not trying to buy these, and I think they might be a little bit too late to short. Yeah, they look like shorts, but they're slow movers. They don't really go, they don't really get that crazy. Hey, Bong Young, what's up, baby? SO looks good. It's just going to be slow. This thing moves like, you know, 30, 40 cents a day. Yeah, rock and roller, Coca-Cola. Haha. All right, cool. Hey, bros. Let's make some money today. We got a lot of stuff we got to do. Man, okay, so, yeah, you can add Labu to the list, too. Don't worry about Labu. That one looks good. In the cut like a G-string. I like it, buddy. And, guys, a big thing of getting organized, right, is make sure you got all your stocks where you need them. So I like to use kind of like a 6-window layout, but, you know, there's all sorts of little funny games that we can do to get this party going. All right? So let's have some fun. You guys, let me know if you have any questions.